KYOUKI, huh? This level is definitely a level that looks like a level, smells like a level, plays like a level, acts like a level, and most definitely feels like a level. And having to remake that, I'll admit, is a little bit of an odd situation. Look at this, bro. When I first looked at this, I automatically thought this deck was unremakeable. And also there's the fact that I failed on remaking this level once in the past. So yeah, I really have to face my fears and try to remake KYOUKI. So let's see how it goes. Alright, so as you guys already know, I always start my extreme demons by making the gameplay. So obviously for KYOUKI it would not be different. And well, as you already know, KYOUKI's gameplay is kinda quirky. It's like really fast paced and it kinda reminds me of those speed car layouts. At the same time, it looks fun to play, once you are good enough to beat. Anyways, one thing I knew for sure, for this gameplay, I would have to use a lot of transitions. So that's what I started to do. Basically, every time you click in this gameplay, you get to a different game mode. And after spamming a lot, making the strongest click in the game, making a duo part because I really like that small KYOUKI's duo section, and also making a sick ending with sheep and cube game mode, just like what KYOUKI does. This is how it ended up looking like. Keep in mind that I will be making some changes when I'm decorating it, and now it's that time of the day where I just suffer a lot and I decorate something. Well, the first thing I made was I went inside KYOUKI to study it a little bit, and bro, look at this. How do you even expect me to remake this, bro? Anyways, you'll never know if you don't try. So as you can see, most of the structures on KYOUKI are made of two colors. Usually one block design is one color and the other is another color. Creator probably made this to give the level some more color variation, and I gotta admit, it really worked. And that's what I'm gonna do here as well. After making some color variations in the blocks, I decided to start it by adding my favorite object in the entire game, glow. After that, I started spamming some spikes inside the block designs because, I don't know, I just feel like KYOUKI has like these spiky vibes, if you know what I mean. And after adding some fading lines because they always look good, I decided to do the detail that KYOUKI has the most, ground spikes. Bro, this level is basically a giant ground spike. Like, look at this. And after spamming some glow to improve the atmosphere a little bit, I noticed that the ground spikes were looking a little bit empty, so I decided to make some details inside it. And for that, I decided to take inspirations from this KYOUKI part with these pillars, because I just think they look sick. And after making that giant pillar inside the ground spikes, I just decided to make some more random details around it that I thought would fit, because it was still looking a little bit empty. And after making another bevel of ground spikes in front of the first ground spike, I decided to make a very basic 3D on this block. And before I say anything, I'm already aware of the fact that KYOUKI does not have any 3Ds on its blocks, so that's why it's called a remake, that's why it's not the original level, you freaking idiot. Well, after that, the first block design was finished, and I was really proud of that, to be honest. I just decided to post this on Twitter to see if people would realize that this is KYOUKI, and apparently people recognized KYOUKI when I posted it, so that's a W. It means that this reminds KYOUKI, which means that we are walking to the right path. Well, after making that block design, I obviously copy and pasted it. Bro, do you think I'm gonna keep making this much of effort for every block design I make? You gotta be joking, right? Well, I'm not copy and pasting it that much though, because now I'm making some more structures inspired by KYOUKI. And the main detail that I use are these diagonal lines that KYOUKI has a lot for some reason. And now I just start doing a lot of block designs and simply doing whatever comes to my head first that's minimally similar to KYOUKI. And since I have nothing interesting to talk about, it's time-lapse time. Okay, there's no need for all that though. Well, after making a lot of different block designs and a lot of ground spikes, this is how it was looking like so far. Now I decided to remake that club step monster that comes from KYOUKI. And don't ask me why this looks like it's melting. Like, look at this. Why did the creator spam a lot of these water objects, bro? But yeah, if you know me well, you know that if a level of mine does not have a club step monster, then it's not a level of mine. Well, after spamming a lot of spikes and random details that I thought would look similar to the monster on KYOUKI, I absolutely had to make him melting, and also I had to spam some fading lines, bro. Fading lines are the GOAT. And then obviously I made a 3D on this monster because you already know me. And for the last, I just made that glow effect that this monster has in one of its eyes that I honestly really think it's sick. And after finishing the monster, I just kinda made the rest of the block designs from the first section. So time-lapse time again. No, I'm just kidding, we're not doing that again. But yeah, this is how the first section was looking like so far. Now it was time for the hardest part of remaking KYOUKI, making the effects. KYOUKI basically has one effect every second. It's gonna be so much work, bro. First I decided to make that effect with the arrows going forward just because I really like it for some reason. And honestly also because I thought it would be easy to make, but it was not easy to make. I mean, look at me clearly struggling to make it. Please free me from this suffering, bro. Well, the final result actually looked pretty cool, so it's fine. Now it was time to make one of my favorite effects on KYOUKI, this effect. That was actually really easier than I thought to make. I just had to spam a lot of these water objects that KYOUKI loves to use for some reason, along with some pulses. And then I just copy and pasted it like 4 times and it was already made. And holy moly, I really like this effect. I really like the vibes that it has, and I really like the way it syncs with the song. It's so good, bro. And finally, I just made some generic glow lasers going to the left because KYOUKI does the same thing and it took me 5 minutes to do. Every good glow creator knows how to make these. Now I spam some giant grass objects behind everything in the level because KYOUKI does the same thing. And then I make some air deco using corner glow and obviously fading lines. And after spreading the air deco around the part, I made some blocks move, and then finally, to finish the first section off, I decided to make a sick transition. And for that, obviously, I would have to remake the strongest click on KYOUKI. Making it honestly was way easier than I thought it would be. I just had to make 2 simple block designs with diagonal structures, and then I simply made them pulse white and added a lot of glow to them. And honestly, it really worked, and I really liked this effect. Now it's time to make the second and the last sections, and doing them was way easier than making the first one, that's for sure. First I just started using glow as always, and then again I just started making random details that were similar to KYOUKI. And on top of that, obviously I had to add a 3D on the blocks. There's not much to talk about here because I made all the blocks in this part pretty much at the same time, so I just go and make another time lapse. Well, after making the block designs from the second section, I just made some very simple saws inspired by KYOUKI, using some black glow as you can see here. And after that, it was time to make some ground spikes, and as you already know, since KYOUKI's ground spikes basically take over half of the screen, I'll do the same thing here. Also, I decided to make another bevel of ground spike just for the funny. After spamming some air deco and making some glow lasers as decoration just like what KYOUKI does, I made some glows in that diagonal position just to create some illumination effect. And after spamming a lot of random objects in the background just to create a nice atmosphere in this part, I just made some very simple glow lasers effect, and this section was basically done. And now it's time to remake the last section, and this was by far the easiest part to remake in the entire level. And honestly, it ended up being one of the best parts as well. First thing I did was to change the gameplay a little bit in this part to make it even more similar to KYOUKI and also to make it better and less awkward to play. After fixing the gameplay, honestly I had a lot of ideas for this part. At this point, my mind simply unlocked the ultra instinct of Geometry Dash and it started just acting on its own. I just started making some block designs made out of ground spikes in a very similar way as what KYOUKI does, while also adding a lot of extra details around it to make the shape of this structure better. And after adding some bright spikes on top of it, I decided to add some bright roots in the center of this block design because that was the only thing that was in my mind and it ended up looking cool. And after adding some black glow and some extra bright glow on the roots, the block was basically finished and it looks amazing honestly. It's a surprise that I actually managed to make something good first try. Then I just just started copy and pasting stuff around while making some small changes on every single block to make it look less repetitive. Afterwards, I just made some more block designs, also inspired on KYOUKI, and for some reason, these blocks in the last part use a lot of fading lines this way. I mean, I love to see that. I'm not gonna complain about it personally. After that, I just spammed some glow and copy and pasted the air deco from the previous part into this one, because that's what KYOUKI does, so I will not make any questions about that. And also, as you can see, I made some very big grasses objects on the T3 layer, and I gotta admit, this looked way better than I thought it would look like. This was a lucky move for sure, bro. And after adding some random bright spikes around this part, the last thing I made was the iconic final transition from KYOUKI, using a lot of ground spikes, and also I made the last triple spikes white, just like what KYOUKI does. This level really has a lot of mysteries, like, why are these spikes white, bro? Why aren't they just like every other spikes? Mystery of life, I guess. Anyways, after that I just made a huge black glow on the right side of the level, and then finally, I just made every single block design on this level move. Against my own will, obviously, I hate doing moves. And GG, I was finally done with this part after so long, and honestly, it ended up looking way better than I thought, and it feels really good to be able to overcome my fear of remaking this level after so long, bro. Anyways, this is how this part ended up looking like. Don't worry guys, I'm already editing the Remaking of Avernus video. Please don't kill me, please just wait a little bit. I'm gonna upload it very soon. Please don't kill me.